Logical fallacies. In our last episode, we looked at the rules of logic. You need to understand the rules of logic on a basic level before you can employ your knowledge of the fallacies. But the fallacies are where the real power is.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
Itty-bitty living space.
Imagine you went to a doctor who only knew health. They never studied illness, disease, infection, viruses, or bacteria, but they could tell you everything you ever wanted to know about what a healthy person looks like.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
Not very useful. Likewise, you can't just know the rules of logic. You must know them and harness them. But we also must know how the rules of logic are broken in order to be critical thinkers. Now we begin to learn how to spot when an argument commits a fallacy. As you begin to add these weapons to your arsenal, be sure that you don't just become proficient at spotting them in other people's arguments. Be the first convert of your own message.
And by the way, I'm not only the hair club president, but I'm also a client.
Don't use fallacies in your arguments because it's abusive, it's wrong, and muddy thinking. The one who doesn't know the fallacies is at the mercy of the one who does. Fallacies are sometimes harnessed to manipulate people, overpower the opposition, or trick someone into believing you have won the argument. Know them. See when they're being used and don't fall prey to their allure, either by using them or becoming a victim to them. As humans, we are prone to exaggeration. In fact, overstatement is the most important logical fallacy that you will learn. More important than logic, more important than your job, more important than the very air that you're breathing. See what I did there? Be sure to make accurate statements and learn to throttle back your claims. We exaggerate in an attempt to overpower the opposition, usually when we feel threatened or don't have a good handle on the arguments being made. If we want to persuade others, we need to dial back our statements and speak with precision. Number 1, ever say, "You never," or "You always." And how about this one? "Everyone always says." In an argument? We do this to suppress the opposition. When we speak in absolutes, it escalates our claims to the highest degree, even though it's rarely true. It's a rhetorical device that utilizes a logical fallacy called an oversimplification or overgeneralization. These fallacies are easy to spot and to refute because someone just has to provide one case where they didn't do what is being said they always do. If someone makes the claim that everyone always says you take the credit, or some other disparaging remark about your character, simply point that there are more people who don't know you exist than there are that do. So obviously not everyone always says. Even if their attack is true, you making them concede a portion of their argument forces them to speak with fairness and clarity. When you point out their exaggeration, others listening will usually suspect they may be up to no good because they made a case worse than what it actually was. On the other side of that coin, you will come off as hot-headed or worse if you use exaggeration to make a point. Make your point. You don't need to exaggerate to decorate your argument. Truth and a good syllogism should be strong enough without employing "you always."
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes, which is an absolute statement. So is Obi-Wan telling us he's a Sith Lord? Throttle back your claims. Try to stay clear of absolutes unless you're absolutely 100% about what it is you are saying. And I'm not even sure of that. You encounter logical fallacies almost every day, from commercials on the TV or radio to social media posts to the news and normal conversations in your routine life. The kid in that commercial grew up to be none other than Carlton Banks.
It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone.
All because he drank Pepsi. Just kidding. Drink Pepsi and you'll dance like Carlton Banks. I mean Michael Jackson. Did you pick up on some of the fallacies in that commercial? Bandwagon fallacy, also known as the appeal to the people, or argumentum ad populum. Accept my argument because everyone's doing it. Appeal to authority, or appeal to an unqualified authority. Accept my argument because Michael Jackson, the king of pop, endorses it. The false cause fallacy. Accept my argument to drink Pepsi because it will make you dance like Michael Jackson. Another fallacy. The decade you were born doesn't determine your generation. What you drink does. Pepsi. What we care about regarding arguments are 1. Are the premises true? 2. Are they related? And 3. Do they lead to the conclusion? Evaluate this statement. It is wrong, always, everywhere, and for everyone to believe anything upon insufficient evidence. This is incorrect. It is self-refuting, and we prove it by applying the criteria it sets for itself. The question we should ask in response is, what evidence do you have to make that claim? Number 2, appeal to force, also known as threat or the big stick. Power Rangers is the best TV show, and if you don't believe me, I'll have my big brother beat you up. Could Power Rangers be the best TV show? Yes, it could, but the argument made has no relevance to support that claim. What would be some things we would need to consider to evaluate if Power Rangers is the best TV show? Entertainment value, production quality, popularity, how we define the term best, is the Green Ranger in all the episodes, beauty, virtue, emotion, opinion. It could be the best for a certain age group or interest. Criteria would need to be established for what constitutes the best, and once that's agreed upon, the argumentation, evaluation, and contributing factors could be assessed to determine if the Power Rangers is in fact the best show. But we should not be convinced because we're going to be threatened by a big brother. Here's another example. You'll be very happy hiring our security company. Think of all the money you'll lose from broken windows, thefts, and damaged merchandise in the event you don't hire us. How about this one? I know you'll find the new manager an asset to the company. If you disagree with his role in our company, just know that it may become necessary to make severe cutbacks in your department. Your disagreement that the manager is an asset to the company is not related to your employment. What are they saying? Is it possible to think the manager is not an asset and still perform your job well? How do your thoughts about the manager being a detriment affect your employment? It could if your thoughts are wrong and the manager is an asset, but that is determined by merit, not by fear, especially if you're facing cutbacks and a job loss. Number 3, appeal to pity, tugging on people's hearts. Sarah McLachlan. We probably all need to adopt a few puppies now, don't we? I understand I broke the law by going 30 miles over the speed limit, but if you take away my license, I won't be able to drive Uber anymore, and my wife and 2 children won't eat. Surely I'm not guilty. Here's another example. I deserve this promotion. I've had such a terrible year. I can't even pay rent this month, and my car's about to be repossessed. Can't you see that I should get this pay raise? Number 4, appeal to the people, popular opinion. Of course you want to buy Surge energy drink. Why? 90% of America drinks it. Anyone remember Surge? Number 5, argument against the person or ad hominem. You're dumb and that's why you're wrong. Even an idiot makes a good argument every once in a while. On what grounds should we dismiss someone's argument as irrelevant? If the conclusion doesn't follow the premises or they commit some other logical fallacy, truth and relevance is what we're looking for. What's the opposite of this argument? You're smart and that's why you're right? Smart people make mistakes too. Learn to separate the argument from the person making it, regardless of their intelligence. Evaluate an argument on its own merits. This takes many forms and is the most common fallacy of the ill-informed. If this fallacy pops its head out of the sand, you've won because they're not engaging with the argument anymore. Here's another example. He just wants us to vote for the new school district borders because his kids will benefit. Number 6, accident. A general rule is applied to a specific case it was never meant to be applied to. The Second Amendment protects our rights to bear arms, so George, though an illegal immigrant with a felony, has the right to bring his gun into Disneyland. How about this one? I am a mammal, which means I'm an animal. Animals are amoral. Therefore, I should not be held responsible for any crimes that I commit. Number 7, the straw man. Distorting the argument to an extreme, then defeating that argument. I hate this fallacy the most. It's the coward's way out. The straw man is also the one I probably used the most growing up, which is why I can't stand it now. You either intentionally or unintentionally mischaracterize your opponent's argument into something much easier to destroy. When someone's about to straw man you, they'll show their hand by stating, so what you're saying is...
Jordan Peterson, you're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy dominating men.
You're just saying that's the way it is.
Well, I'm not saying
But you're
anything.
saying basically it doesn't matter if women aren't getting to the top. You're saying, well, that's just a fact of
Not
life.
saying
Women
it
aren't
doesn't
necessarily
matter.
going to get to the top.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter either.
You're saying, and you're saying if
You
it's at the
can't- you
cost
can't-
of men, that's a problem.
That is so untrue that it's almost unbelievable.
I've
Unfortunate.
fought to get where I've got.
That's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
It took a while,
It did, yeah.
It took a while. You're saying it's because women are too agreeable to ask for pay rises. You're saying that women aren't intelligent enough?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
You're saying that...
Jordan Peterson, so what you're saying is, when someone tries to strawman your argument, they're stripping it of muscle, intelligence, and real threat. It's much easier to fight the scarecrow.
What would you do with a brain if you had one?
Do? Why, if I had a brain, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain.
Instead of a real man, problem is the scarecrow is something your opponent has created themselves. They are literally fighting a weaker version of the argument that they created. They're fighting themselves, but making everyone believe they're fighting you. Don Quixote, anyone?
I am Don Quixote de la Mancha.
A lot of credit that endeavor entails, isn't there? When this happens, correct their mischaracterization and refer back to your original argument. Number 8, missing the point. All the premises are pointing in one direction, but a different conclusion is made. The conclusion seems to come out of the blue. Crimes have increased at an alarming rate recently. The conclusion is obvious. We must reinstate the death penalty. What is a more plausible conclusion to the premises? Figure out why crime has increased, maybe? Maybe set up police presence in those areas? Number 9, the red herring. Changing the subject. The arguer subtly changes the subject and takes the argument off course. Many think we should protect bees because much of our agriculture would be greatly impacted by their demise. I have a cousin who's allergic to bees. If she gets stung, she swells up like a tomato. These are the first 9 of the 22 logical fallacies that I'm going to cover over the next few videos. There are a lot more, but I've narrowed it down to this list because they're the most likely you'll encounter in our day and age. If you want to explore more, I encourage you to do so by watching videos on logical fallacies, grabbing some books. Check out Thou Shalt Not Commit Logical Fallacies at yourlogicalfallacyis.com. Take a tally of Aunt Karen's logical fallacies this next Thanksgiving. Download a Logic app, watch for them, and call them out on commercials. Now that you're aware of these first 9, be on the lookout for them in your daily life. Make sure you aren't committing them, and speak to people who use them gently. They probably don't know what they're doing or why it's wrong. A great way of helping people with logic and thinking better is strengthening their argument or offering an even better one in support of their position. This is the opposite of the straw man. We can call it the strong man. Once we've strengthened their argument or given them a better one, and then you defeat that argument, you will have done both of you a service, because you didn't just win the argument, you may have won the opponent. I don't want a weak, dumb, easy argument. I want the best opponent with the most robust argument. That's how we learn, grow, and become better. Remember Captain Hook?
Is it you, my great and worthy opponent? But it can't be. Not this pitiful, spineless, pasty-bloated codfish I see before me. You're not even a shadow of Peter Pan.
My most worthy opponent? If your arch nemesis, your sworn enemy, grows in their mastery of the logical arts, don't faint, shy away, or run in fear. Accept the challenge. Come at it with enthusiasm. Prepare as if your life and the lives of others depended on it. Thanks for joining me on the channel today. I appreciate you taking the time to learn how to think critically and choosing this platform to learn it. Stick with it, and you'll get better to the point that it will become second nature. You won't even have to think about it. And until next time, critical thinkers, think deeply.
Tommy's in it?
Yeah, Tommy. Do I linger? It definitely is. Tommy! Tommy! Oh, you got me out!
Do you love Tommy?